Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me at the table. I'm Thomas Dodderwick, and this week I have the pleasure of sitting down with Roy Brown, the Executive Director of Billings Catholic Radio, and this week we're doing something a little different. As you can see, the angle of the camera is different. I've got a computer sitting in front of me on the table, and so Roy's joining me via GoToMeeting. Roy, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, Thomas. Always good to talk to you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Billings Catholic Radio.
That's a wide question. A little bit about myself. Been married 32 years, have two grown children, active in the parish. I'm the OCIA director at St. Bernard in Billings. I run Billings Catholic Radio, been doing that since 2011.
And Billings Catholic Radio, how wide is your reach? I mean, do you get outside of Billings, or is it really just Billings?
That's a wonderful question. We purchased a radio station, an AM signal at 1240 AM. So we broadcast a good 50, 80, even 100 miles. People have picked us up in downtown Sheridan, Wyoming. We do lose a little bit going over the mountains heading west, but heading east, people pick us up there. I even remember early on, we got an email from somebody in Busby, Montana. Do you know where Busby is? Most people
I don't know where Busby is.
I had to look on a map, southeast of us. So our AM signal travels quite far. We also had with that what they call a translator FM station, which means that it rebroadcasts the AM signal, but on an FM frequency, and that's very local. That reaches approximately 10 miles from Billings in all directions. And then approximately 4 years ago, we brought on a third signal. It's also a translator FM, but it serves south of Laurel predominantly. So people can actually pick us up on an FM signal all the way out through Park City, almost to Columbus. And then, of course, with our mobile app, we're heard everywhere. I love the fact that we have a woman in Kansas who listens to us on her drive in to work. She has other stations, but they're not powerful enough to keep it all the way along. So she just listens to our mobile app, and that's been a real game changer for us. People around the state listen to us on mobile apps. So I really like that aspect. So as far as the reach goes, a terrestrial signal, the AM signal, about 80 miles is a good range there. The FMs are very localized, but with the mobile app, we cover the world.
And how is it that people can find the mobile app if they want to go looking for it in the App Store?
You know, all they have to search is Billings Catholic Radio, and it pops right up on both Android and Apple devices. So it's been really a great help to us, especially when it comes to broadcasting local sports. There are many people that will actually be at the game, but listening to our play-by-play on their phone. They've got their little earbud in, and it's always fun to have them. They'll text us and tell us, that they're listening. So that's always fun.
On that note, what kind of programming do you carry? I mean, you just mentioned sports. What other kind of program do you carry?
When we signed on, we became an affiliate of EWTN, the Eternal Word Television Network. Mother Angelica started that, and of course their radio signal. So we take predominantly their programming. That's intermixed with other providers around the country, like Ave Maria Radio Network. They provide a lot of our morning content. And then Catholic Answers, which is based out of San Diego. They provide their content to EWTN. And so we pick up that signal, but then we augment that with many local announcements, interviews. We do regular interviews that air Mondays and Friday mornings. We broadcast local sports. And we also have, from time to time, done like a pledge drive where we bring in local members of our community and we talk about the faith with them. It's been a wonderful addition to our programming to be able to have local people talking about their experience, their journey of faith. And it really encourages a lot of other people. So we keep adding more and more local programming, and God willing, in the next 60 days, we'll have a real big announcement that will kind of boost that local programming with new content.
In that realm, why is that so important? I mean, EWTN puts out great programming. Catholic Answers is a wonderful platform. Why is the local stuff so important?
I've been in local radio since 1992. I was in commercial radio for approximately 21 years and then came over here. I didn't really understand the importance of it at first. But yes, we can all pick up a signal from EWTN. We can download their app. We can go to all the different podcasts. That's a very vicarious way of participating in our journey of faith. And I think many times we want to ask the question ourselves. We want to be involved. And so by having a local outlet for that, we know our community. We do promos for all of the parishes. We promote the activities of the diocese, the CCW, Knights of Columbus, the Catholic Social Services. These are the interviews that we do. So people are now connected with what's happening in their local community that they can now get involved with. One of the things I'm really proud of is our connection with the Billings Catholic Young Adults. This group had been going for about 2 years, and it kind of by chance, we stumbled across each other. And now we have regular interviews with them, public service announcements. So now we're seeing more and more people come to their activities, which is very important to the life of the church, is to make sure that younger adults have that opportunity to become engaged. For a long time, even I felt disengaged with my local parish. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know the faith. By coming to Catholic Radio over the last dozen years, I've really come to appreciate the beauty and the diversity of all of our different parishes and all the different organizations within the parish that really do hit all the buttons for everybody. You can find a place for yourself within the Catholic Church. If you just had a remote signal to listen to, something coming out of Alabama, wonderful speakers, great education, catechesis, wonderful tool for evangelization, but it lacks that personal approach.
And along that same lines, why is it important that we've got Catholic radio and not just Christian radio? We've got K-Love and all of those kind of Christian music kind of things. What sets Catholic radio apart, and why is it important that we've got Catholic media specific?
That's a really great question, and I'm glad you asked it, because sometimes people wonder, why do we also need a Catholic radio station when we have all these other outlets? I actually started listening to a Christian station. I think it was Pilgrim Radio. It was one of the national services that was being rebroadcast here in Billings. And I really fell in love with the fact that they read the Bible cover to cover every Easter or every Lent. They would start reading it. And so I would tune in for those. And again, that was nice, but I couldn't be involved myself. And it didn't reflect my Catholic faith. We have wonderful Christian radio stations that have wonderful teaching on there, but there are a variety of teachings from all different doctrines. And we all have something to offer. And there's wonderful pastors on there and speakers that can do wonderful exegesis, kind of explain scripture. But it does lack that understanding of scripture and tradition. And that's where the teaching of the church comes right in our face. Many of those pastors and teachers, they learn from the saints of the church, the doctors of the church. They rely on them. And so what I find is that we can come to know Christ a little better through those other avenues. But when it comes to having the fullness of the faith, to be able to enjoy the sacraments and all of that, we need that Catholic representation, because there are differences. But a lot of times we come together and we work wonderful things in our community, supporting the homeless and the hungry and many other causes. But when it comes to really understanding the church that Jesus founded, we really need those authentic teachers that we can rely on, that come down to us through the church. When it comes to the music, great music. I've been inspired by many things that I've heard on Christian radio, but music traditionally is a background resource. When we listen to talk radio, when we listen to the EWTN broadcast, what we broadcast on Billings Catholic Radio, we've been asked, why don't you play some music? We do from time to time. It's typically around Christmas time, but we're not a background noise. People are listening and people are learning. Many people that I meet through the OCIA program, other Christian initiation formats, or even through like a renewal or Cum Christo, they rely on Catholic radio to continue to grow in faith, to continue to learn and fall in love with Christ.
So Billings Catholic Radio, like you said, is growing, and there's a lot going on. I mean, it seems like every time you and I visit, you're telling me of speakers you're bringing in or different events that Billings Catholic Radio is hosting. I know you've got a big one coming up at the end of this month. Share about that.
I'm so excited about this. Dr. Ray Garendi was our guest speaker, I believe, for our 9th or 10th anniversary banquet. And we had an amazing time. He's funny. He's intelligent. He's a little self-deprecating, but in a humorous way. But he's got such sound wisdom when it comes to family relationships, raising children. He's got a slew of books that are bestsellers that he'll be bringing with him. He's coming to town on September 25th and 26th. He's the host of our daily program, The Doctor is In. I forgot the name of the program. The Doctor is In. It's heard at 11 a.m. on Billings Catholic Radio. But he also does a television program called Living Right with Dr. Ray. He started this about 4 years ago and travels around the country to different communities, interviewing local people, talking about their stories of faith and how they use their faith in their everyday walk with Christ. So he's going to be in town for 2 days, September 25th, which is a Monday, and Tuesday, September 26th. We're going to tape 4 episodes of his program, Living Right with Dr. Ray, and that's viewed on EWTN television. We've got the schedule on our website. We're going to tape those episodes with local guests that he'll be interviewing. We also have the opportunity for our audience to ask Dr. Ray a question. So there's many times that we're listening and we're thinking, well, I have a question now, and you try and call in, but the show's almost over. This is a real captive way to get Dr. Garendi's ear. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have light refreshments. We've got 4 tapings. People can register online at billingscatholicradio.com. They can come to one. They can come to all 4. Bring the family. Dr. Ray loves kids. He's got, I think, 11 children that he's adopted. So he's got a wealth of wisdom and experience to share with us. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and some great wisdom. And it's all steeped in the Catholic faith.
Is that going to be there in studio, or are you going to do that at another location because of the audience?
Well, there's no way we could fit him into our studio, even though it is a little bit larger. No, we are going to be at St. Francis School in the gymnasium. So it's a wonderful venue. We hosted a Living Fatima event in 2017, marking the 100th anniversary of Our Lady of Fatima. And so we did that event in the gymnasium as well. And that was it was packed. So we'd love to do that again. And this one is free. So everybody is welcome to come. No event is absolutely without cost. So any donations that people can make are appreciated, but we want to make this available to our community. And again, this kind of goes back to your question of why Catholic radio, why a local station? Because we have the opportunity to do things like this, as well as partner with the Diocese and their events. When we did the Eucharistic Revival event in May, that was a beautiful event that we were able to partner with them. And that's why you need a local radio station.
Do you have any other events later in the fall that you want to promote?
We don't have any events after Dr. Ray. That's a tough time with all the sports and everything. We just want to do more interviews. And like I said, God willing, we may be launching a new content that we'll be offering to everybody. So rather than bringing everybody out to another location, we'll be bringing the content to them. So can't really get into it right now because we're still putting all the pieces together. Thomas, you know what it's like when you're trying to organize all of this, and you want to make sure that you have a good rollout of all of that.
Absolutely.
But we'll be doing that. And then, of course, we'll have our annual banquet in the spring in March. So that we're looking forward to. We're already planning that. So that's going to be something that we'll be working on.
Roy, thank you for taking time today to talk about Billings Catholic Radio and all the wonderful ministry you're doing right there in Billings and around the world through your app.
Well, we appreciate all the efforts that you're doing, Thomas, to bring this media to people. It's something that the diocese has wanted and needed for some time, and we're excited for At the Table, and it's a success on YouTube, and we are linking to it all the time, checking it out. You keep up your interviews, and we'll keep doing ours, and we'll share them back and forth.
Beautiful partnership.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks, Roy.